video today, we just want to talk about a few castings that you can do with a hobby foundry. Just showing you this little casting here. This is a raw casting straight out of the sand, and that's it in a finished state. These are little bobbins, and they're called fastening bobbins, and they're used in fiberglass cars and boats, anywhere to where you need an anchor point. Holes are drilled through them, clear drilled or tapped, and embedded in the fiberglass, and they make a very strong bonding point. Now these things can be cast in multiples, so I'll just show you the pattern board. There's the pattern board. We do about 20 at once. That's one side, that's the other side. A bit of work involved in setting them all up, but once you've got all the patterns mounted, it's ready to go at any time. And we actually produce several of these, sold lots of sets all over the place. This thing I'll show you a little plaster cast. Very simple. I use plaster Paris a lot to make simple little castings or patterns, and it's a very quick way to reproduce something. Now, I'll just show you where this is cast from. This is what it goes in. It's this rotor, and there's a balanced weight this side, and the one I just showed you goes in here, and that's for it holds a little magnet for a sensor block for a digital speeder. You can see here where the magnet is, and that's held securely with cap screws, but that's just made from a simple little plaster cast, and it's amazing what you can do with plaster Paris. Okay, it's not suitable for long-term use, but if you only want to make 2 or 3 parts, it's just the way to go. I'll show you another one. Now this one mightn't look like plaster, it's painted silver, but that's a little holding block that I made for some other little project, and that's a plaster cast, very simply made, and that's the resulting casting. Not quite finished yet, but that's the result of something that I wanted to do or had to make, and that's the result. What about some sports pedals? For your race car, sports car, custom car, whatever. This is a bad casting, this one, because it's got a shrink in the middle of it, simply by the boss here was sucking up too much metal. So we fixed that with proper feed revising, and we had a good set of pedals made out of it. So the patterns. Here's the patterns. One side and the other side. That's where the sprue goes in, the runners, feeders, little chokes, and that's just cast up and moulded up in green sand, and very, very simple. Again, a little bit of work to do to make the pattern, but it's nothing fancy. It just works extremely well. What about some door hinges? These are door hinges for a little old British sports car. They're a pattern of the replica of the originals, and again, very easy to do. That's the pattern all finished, machined, ready to put on the car, and that's a good little project for me. I sell these all over the world, and you might want to see the pattern too. So there's your pattern. Again, I use mounted patterns all the time. Just a very effective way to do your foundry work. There's the patterns. The mould boxes I have only accommodate 3 at a time, but if you had mould boxes you could put 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 at a time, whatever you wanted to do. What about a slave cylinder, clutch slave cylinder? We've made several of these and sold them. But again, if you had a project of your own, a special little custom car or a sports car you're doing, there's a special technique to cast porous-free aluminium for a pressure cylinder, but there are lots of little tricks you can use, and we'll explain all those in the e-books. Of course, you've got to be able to do your own machining on a lathe, but that's just another part of the business. There's your pattern for slave cylinders. Again, 3 up, one side, and again, mounted patterns, mounted runners, little sprue block. As I said, a little bit of work in setting up the patterns, but all very easy and simple to cast. Trying to keep things as simple as possible. Here's somebody else, a little project I did. I was making up wanted to make up a what do you call it? A mandrel for spinning some metal. So I made up a wooden pattern, flat on one side, and I'll show you the casting in a minute. Here's the resulting casting. It's been machined and finished off. Didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, but it was an interesting project, and I've got another use for it. I'll be able to make up a male and female and use it for belling and curving metal, pressed metal. Okay, what we got left? The piece de resistance, making your own pistons. This excites a few people. There's a bad fault. We made some pistons for a project many years ago, and it was a very interesting project. Here's the finished piston, old, it's been pulled out of the engine, and but very intricate. I did all the machining on it, made all the pattern, all the casting little bits and pieces. It's not easy to do, but once you get your head around what you have to do, it can be achieved. And these pistons ran in the horizontal Kohler for years and years and years before they finally clagged out again. So that's a pretty cool project. And that's all we have to show you for today.